I'm back straight away. I'll watch these when I get to camp tonight. Hopefully they'll be okay. I should be watching them as I go so I can do it straight away, but doesn't matter. Alright, so Yarrawonga, got there, did some fishing. Now, on the next day, so that was on the Saturday. On the Sunday, I sat there and noticed, because right next to my camp, like I said, there was a couple of campsites, and there was one sort of above me up a hill a bit, right? Because I was, like I said, I was in a very low-lying area, and I noticed that they'd gone, because I could see their tent from my spot. I noticed they'd gone, so I went up and had a look. They'd gone. Actually, that looks like it might be a snag under there. Don't know. I'll just go around it just in case. It's a hard gig, man. I'm telling you, it's a very hard gig. I'm talking and paddling at the same time. If you've exercised while you're talking, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean. That takes a bit more out of you because you've got your guts moving a bit. Alright, so this is probably the last video I'll do for a little while. I've got to get a move on. Not much daylight I'm going to get today, I don't think. Not much sun. That's alright. I'm burnt to a crisp a bit anyway. Now, so that campsite had left. So I kind of figured, screw it. I'll go up there and I'll move my camp up to the top there. Oh, I just spilled water on it. I'll move my campsite up to the top there, and then I can stay there and I don't have to worry about being underwater. Right, and that's what I thought. Right, so I went from the bottom bit to the middle bit, and I'll explain the middle bit for a reason. Now, I sat there and stayed there for a few days, and then had to move again because the river was rising really quickly. That spot that I was under, while I was at the middle bit, that spot that I was at, the first spot, that was very low lying, that was underwater by about maybe it's hard to tell, but maybe about a foot, maybe half a foot, about a foot underwater, right? Now, the river was coming up really quickly because we're in November, we're still getting a lot of the spring rains, and we're still getting a lot of water coming down from the mountains. You know, very close. You've got Hume a couple hundred kilometres up, and you've got the mountains only about 500 kilometres up, right? So the mountains are getting a hell of a lot of rain still, and obviously Hume getting full, then Mawala gets full, then they open up the weirs, right? Now, while I was at the top bit, because I had to move again because the river was coming up that quickly and that much, that instead of leaving camp, which I probably should have done, I moved up to the top bit. And mind you, this is after about sort of 6 days of being there. So I probably should have moved off anyway. But I was quite comfortable. Now, one thing I noticed, while I was at the middle spot, I was reading my map book, and I'll show you the map books in a sec. Actually, I should have done it when I did the gear video. Actually, I'll do it now. I'll show you now while I remember, so I don't forget. You're going to get a little bit diverted, so I haven't written nothing down. I'm just winging this. So, it'll explain it. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Now, this is my box. This is my box. So let's have a look in here. This has got all my stuff in it. Now, this box here, the top one, the one underneath, if I show you, I'll try and tip it upside down. That one there has got my toiletries in it. And that's the can opener for baked beans, obviously. I'm buying cheap ones, so I don't care about the taste. That's my first thing. I won't show you too much of that. But that's what I have in here. Now, I have to take that up onto the bank with me. I don't like doing it, but I have to take it up on the bank with me because people might steal. Now, at Renmark, I actually had money taken out of wallet. I stopped at Renmark to get some food. I actually bought hamburgers there. Bought hamburgers and some bread, so it wasn't baked beans. And I accidentally left my wallet, because I normally keep my wallet in here. As you can see, my wallet's there. If I'm not using my phone, I'll keep it in there. And so what happens is, if I sit there and sink or whatever, then this box will float right next to me. I'm wearing, as you can see, I'm wearing my life jacket. So if I sink, this will float right next to me. I can grab this and get to the bank. And it's got knives, it's got lighters, it doesn't have a torch. Maybe I should put a torch in there. I might do that now, actually. I'll put a torch. Oh, no, it has got a couple of torches in there. Actually, I might put one of the yellow ones in there as well. Screw it. I'll do that now while I remember. So it's got a torch in there. It's got a couple of small torches, but they use the batteries really quickly. So, that is, if it floats and I get stuck on the side of the river because I sink, then I've got survival stuff there that I can sort of live out and just make it to a town. I'm close enough to town, so it wouldn't ever worry me. But at least I can sort of have a fire if it rains. I can keep warm and that, because it is getting to the time now where it's a lot more overcast, a lot more days. All right. So, but this map here. So if you have a look there, and in the map, I sit there and write. I got to there on the 14th of the 4th at 5 o'clock. And I left there on the 15th of the 4th. Oh, so today must be the 15th. So the 15th, and it is 6:40. I think I said the 13th earlier. 6:40. Right, now you can see here, that's the camping ground. So you have a look there, and that says 270. So that is a 7. It looks like a 9. If I go up here, you got 671, 271. That there did not coincide with this bump in the river. I don't think. I think that, I don't know if it's in the book. If it's in the book, it should be up there, or the signage on the thing is wrong. On the side of the river is wrong, because the 270 going by this was about where that is there roughly. It looked roughly by sight. It looked about 1 kilometre away from where I actually was. That bump, quite a big bump in the river, and you can tell that. You can see that bump. That's quite a major one. And even the roadway, there was no roadways along there. You can see that little bit of a path going along there. They're just dirt tracks that you can sort of drive along. I was definitely there I was definitely there, 100%. I've seen the track. So anyway, so that's the map. If I go to a town, you can see, it's got the post office, it's got information, it's got caravan parks, it's got toilets. This one doesn't have it, but they do have barbecues. Your mooring areas for houseboats. Obviously, boat ramp on the other side. Another caravan park. There was no barbecues there. Actually, I think there was a place that had barbecues, but it wasn't in the book. They might be new ones. Like I said, these books, I'll cover this up again. I'll give you back across and we'll start paddling. What are we at? Oh, we're only at 6 minutes. New video. Alright, let's get this up here and let's get paddling again. Oop, spin it around. So that's about that box. I did forget to explain that. I've got to get this charger up so I don't break it with my boots. Alright, now. Oh, beautiful. Alright, let's start paddling again. Ooh, I'm getting close to those rocks. Getting close to that cliff. I had people sitting there saying, when I was telling them, they go, oh, you're going to love the cliffs, rocks down there, you're going to love the cliffs, you're going to love the cliffs. I'm thinking, mate, they're just rocks. Yeah, really? And I always thought, I reckon, for the whole trip so far, Barham, Barmer. The Barmer forest was the best, nice and green. It was just really good. Oh, there's somebody's full on camp, and they've actually got a bus. They've got an actual camping bus. I should be over that side anyway, I'll have to paddle over that side. Now, so they said, oh, you're going to love the rocks, and I'm thinking, whatever, like this. They're gorgeous. I wouldn't say gorgeous, I'm not into gorgeous. They're amazing to see. But, I've seen it once, that's it. I'm not too worried. I still would rather be down Barmer. Not Barham, Barmer. Where the Narrows are, and what they call the Narrows, or the Choke, or whatever it is. I like it down there, it's nice and green. I like to spend a lot of time down there. I'm going to do this trip again one day. I'm definitely going to do this trip again one day. Just so many people camping out this weekend. I can't believe it. I reckon it's Easter. I thought it was last week. Alright, we'll keep going. Alright, so Yarrawonga, I had to move up to a spot up top now. The campsite that I had down the bottom was underwater by about a foot or so. Right, now, I moved up the second spot, up to the top of the spot, and I stayed there for a couple of days and then ended up leaving. Now, while I was at the middle spot, I sat there, read my book, and noticed that you can't fish at all between Yarrawonga and Tokemore for at all. No hooks in the water, because it's a major Murray cod spawning point, right? So Murray cod season, you're allowed to fish there, and I didn't know that. So I'd caught fish on the first day, I put all them back. So lucky I didn't get caught. They can't take your gear off you, so I would have been knackered if they'd done that. This guy has got like a full-on bus. I'm not going to point to it because he's there. It's like a full-on like camper bus, and it's a big size bus, like one of those normal buses, commuter buses that 40 seat or 60 seat or something. He's on his phone. I was going to try and ask him about if it's Easter or not. He's got the bus, and then he's got like a looks like a small shipping container that's got stuff on it in it as well. Almost looks like a kitchen. Must be like a full-on kitchen type deal. Good setup, really good setup. As a camping site, it's probably the best setup I've seen. As like a weekend camping spot. It looks like it's got a full-on kitchen. Looks like the whole roof's a solar panel on the shipping container. And it's got like a window sort of deal. It's got like one of those fold-out awning windows that almost like a tuck shop. I wonder if it is a tuck shop. Hey, get it. It's got a big, massive silver thing inside it. I don't know what it is. I'm sticky nosing, and you can probably see me sticky nosing. I'm going to try and see inside it, because you can't see me now because it's behind the ute. I like looking at this stuff. I like this. This is it. You know, this is what keeps me company. I don't have much. I know I'm on video, but you can see what I do as I paddle down. I don't know what's inside it. Oh, there's something written there. So today is only Friday, so maybe I can't. Where's my binoculars? I'll see if I can. Oh, I can't. He's going to be able to see me. There's something written on the inside of it, so maybe it is a canteen type sort of deal. Because it's got like a big silver thing in there that looks like a pizza oven. I know it could be way off, but it looks like a pizza oven or something. I don't know. It's a big silver thing. It looks like another. It looks like those pizza ovens you get where you put the pizza in one end and comes out the other. I don't think it's that. I absolutely do not. But that's what it looks like. I don't know. Anyway, so keep going. Let's keep going. All right. So Yarrawonga. I was on the middle bit. Flooded. Read my book and realised that I couldn't fish there. Right. So I had to start eating tins of food anyway. And I noticed that on the second day. I noticed that on the Sunday. It must have been after I got to the middle one because I didn't fish again after that. Not until I got after Tokemore. So I sat there and started Yarrawonga for 10 days. I met up at the middle bit. I met up with this old guy. Because I was right on the outskirts of Yarrawonga too still. 8 k's along the river. It's only about 5 k's out of town roughly. Right, so along the road. Roughly. So yeah, that's how close I was to town still. Now I sat there and had this guy rock up. He brought his little dog on a postie. He was on a postie bike. He had his dog sit on the back of the postie bike. Dog was quite old. He had to help the dog up and down. Even the guy was old. Actually, he was about 70, 75-ish. In the army. He was ex-army. Quite a colourful character, if you get my drift. Typical country sort of bloke. He sat there and told me that I've got a funny thing this was like on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, because I know he said on the Friday, I do recall on the Friday that it was going to be his birthday and he was going to come back with a beer for me and we'll sit and have a beer because he seemed a bit lonely. And he never did that, so I was freaking spewing. After a week of being on the river, that beer would have gone down really nicely. So, but anyway, he didn't come back. He asked me beer. I'm going to go look for him. He never come back. I was there for about another sort of 3 or 4 days after he sort of come through, and I left. Now, I had a ranger, when I was at the top spot, I had a ranger come through, and he sat there, because I was watching the river rise up. That's why I had to move to a top spot, right? Because I was watching this river rise and rise and rise. Now, I got to the top spot, stayed there for maybe 3 or 4 days. Now, a ranger came in, and he came through, was closing up the campground, because they were going to open up the Yarrawonga weir properly, because Lake Marwala was filling up, and that they were they're going to open up the weir because they need to take the pressure off, and they had to close the campgrounds because it gets all flooded, which is where I was. Right now, when I left there, my original campground, my second campground, the middle one, never got underwater. Well, I was there, and I don't think it would have, but I just didn't know. Even after I left. Now I sat there and checked the water level up. I checked it while I was there, and kept watching it rise. Now it started off at 2.25 metres deep at the weir, and it finished up a couple of days after I left. It finished up being about, I think it was a couple of days after. Wouldn't be more than that. It wouldn't be more than a couple of days after. It would be earlier if it's going to be anything. Maybe even while I was still there. I can't quite remember that bit. But it was 3.75. That gets a bit sore. It gets got to 3.75. No, I'm not going to say about 3.75. I'm going to say 3.75 because I asked the ranger when he was coming through, because he closed the park up, and I said, "Oh look, I'm on the river. I'm canoeing. Do I need to leave?" And he goes, "Look, I'm not really sure actually, but you know, you've been warned. It might flood. If you're still here and you get flooded out, it's your own fault." Blah, blah, this. He goes, "I'm probably supposed to tell you to leave, but you're an adult. You do what you want. The river's going to rise." Oh, yep, no worries. Thanks for that, mate. And then he sat there and decided to... So I asked him if he knew if the information you get on the actual website about the water depth, water levels, are they accurate? And he goes, 100% accurate. They use it. Parks Victoria actually use that detail, that data, for what they do, for some of their work that they do on the river. So it's 100% accurate. So it went from 2.25 to 2.75 in a matter of days, just in a matter of about a week or so. Now, when I left the day after he gave me that. He told me that. I left the next day because, like I said, I think I'd been there about eight or 9 days or something, so it was about time for me to leave anyway. So I started making my way down the river. Now, one thing I will add is I spread my dad's ashes at Yarrawonga. I took them up, brought them up with me. I got asked if I wanted them. It was one of those small urns, so his right leg. Now, I sat there and got the urn, and I don't really know why I got it, really. When I got given it, I sat there and, really? Now, it's sort of, it's not, it's more respect type deal. I have to look after this for the rest of my life to be respectful for him, you know what I mean? So, I sat there and thought, I'm an idiot. You know, I just don't think I'm going to be able to do that with enough respect. So I sat there and decided to bring them up, and I was meant to, because I'm in South Australia at the moment. I think I told you. So, I'm pretty sure I told you. I'm about 1,700 kilometres downriver, and I've got about 300 kilometres to go. So I'm in South Australia. I was meant to have spread his ashes in South Australia. That was my plan, to do it, because he was born in South Australia. So I figured send him back home. And I sat there and didn't think I could be respectful enough, trying to live for 12 months on the river and look after his ashes. That's the whole reason I was spreading them in the first place. I'd already made that decision to do it before I even left Sunbury. So I sort of figured if I put it in at Yarrawonga, he'll float down the river, he'll make it to South Australia before I do, and he definitely would have. So I did that. That got that a little bit upsetting. It made me realise it made me realise a couple of things. So yeah, I've got something I've got to fix up in Sunbury. Yeah, I miss my dad. So anyway, so I did that. Got rid of the ashes. I shouldn't say I got rid of the ashes. I spread his ashes in the water, tipped his ashes in the water. I didn't do a whole ceremony thing. I sort of tried to be respectful, but I just did it. I mean, it's not, yeah. I don't believe in all that stuff where he's watching over you and all that sort of stuff. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I just think, yeah. Anyway, that's not a subject for this. So yeah, I spread his ashes. That's one of the sort of lowlights of the trip, I suppose. As I said, it got me thinking a bit. Alright, so I left there. Actually, I got to admit, it did take me quite a few days to have my first campfire as well. 260. It took me quite a few days to have my first campfire as well. Like, I did not have my first campfire until I got to the top spot. So that was about sort of 5 or 6 days into my trip, into being at Yarrawonga, or I suppose into the trip as well. I did not have my first campfire. I didn't even think of it. I had a lot of, actually this old boy, this freaking dog. I had a lot of sticks, because I showed you that bucket, I showed you that paint tin. So all I need is one branch, and that's my dinner cooked. Fish, I need a bit more. If I cook a fish, I need a bit more. But to cook a tin of food, in those days, all I need is one branch. Yeah, you break the thinnest bits off and put them in first, and then get the chunky bits at the top, so, it starts like a normal fire. And, yeah, just one branch, just literally one branch that I can find on the ground is enough to cook my whole dinner. Done. And a little bit more, actually. But, yeah, it's enough to cook my dinner. So, it wasn't really hard for me to find wood for that, but it was quite hard to find wood for a campfire, because being Yarrawonga, quite a popular spot, not much wood around. Most campsites are like, not most popular campsites are like that. So yeah, I didn't even have my first campfire until I was at that top spot, and that is 100%. I remember that. I did not have a campfire at the bottom, but positive, 100% positive of that. No, not even a little bit positive. I'm 100% positive. So I don't know. I'm not into campfires. Never have been really. I've had a few of them over. In fact, I've been on the river for 5 months. I would suggest, if I was going to guess, I would say about 30 campfires. Maybe 40. Yeah, maybe 40, but yeah, definitely. I honestly do not think it would be more than that. Honestly, do not think it would be more than that. In fact, even while I've been tripping down the river now, so I've been on the river every day, for the last month. I have had probably 2 or 3 in a whole month, and that's, I know I've had one. I'm assuming I've had 1 or 2 more. I remember having one. I don't know if I had any others. I don't think I did actually, but I don't know. I'll say 2 or 3 just on the outside, just in case I did and I don't remember them. Alright, so I'm leaving Yarrawonga. I got told to leave because they're closing up the park. Because they have to close it up from the roadway because it completely floods, which is where I was. Now, I started paddling down, and I did sort of overnighters. That's where I set my box up for being able to grab that little bucket. I call it a box, but it's a bucket. That's where I set the bucket up with my gear to have stuff in it, so I can sit there and just pull the bucket out. And it's got a lighter, because at that stage I needed the lighter in there to be able to cook, because obviously I had to cook my food. Paddling down the river, and I've got another campsite with, I think this is all private property. I think this is people's properties where they set it up to have like their own private holiday park, basically. Some of them are decked out really well. Some of them are just basic camping, shitty really sites. You know, broken corrugated iron and all that sort of stuff. This is a half decent setup. Like a bit of a reluctant wave. I know, I just wave to everyone. I never used to, but then everyone started waving at me, so now I wave to everyone. I don't care, whatever. I'm a bit like that. Alright, so leaving Yarrawonga, paddled down the river for every night for about 5 days, and then got to Echuca. Excuse me. Got to Echuca, and I got to my first spot at Echuca. Now, I nearly messed up there, because I had a couple $100 on me. I had to sit there and buy a motor in Echuca, an electric motor in Echuca, that motor I showed you, right? And I had to stop off on the way. Now, there was an old guy, I stopped there, started doing all my fishing and trapping and all that sort of stuff there. Now, I put the fishing bit off as long as I could because I hate fish. I do not like eating fish, I never have, and I still don't like it now. I've lived on baked beans for the last month because it's the easiest thing to buy without having to cook it, right? So I've been pretty much lived on baked beans for the whole month that I've been on the river so far, like since I left Gumbier. And I don't hate baked beans at the moment, but I still hate fish, and that's after eating it for 4 months straight. So fish I'm never ever going to like. So yeah, I started eating fish and trapping animals at Echuca, right? Because it was just the first spot I stopped, and I was going to stop at this spot for a couple of months. It was a nice little alcove area, the type of spot I like fishing in, right? I do all right there, and I did all right there for fish. Now, I had this old guy rock up. He rocked up with his family. On the first time he rocked up, after me being there for about a week and a bit, I sat there and he rocked up with his family. Now, it was an old guy about sort of 50, 65-ish roughly. And he had his missus and her son. Now, I think it was like a de facto relationship sort of deal. I don't think they were married. And and it's definitely not his son, because I asked the young guy. The young guy was about 23. It didn't look like it was all there. It looked like he had almost looked like he had the mind of a 12-year-old, if you get my drift. You know, he's talking to himself and sort of functioning as an adult, like, you know, helped his like stepdad do the boat and do the caravan and do this and do everything else. So he functioned quite well, but just, I think the mind of, talking to himself, mucking around a little bit, just the way he sort of carried himself, made him look like he was about 12. Anyway, so yeah, they rocked up, and the first time they rocked up, because I'd been eating fish for about a week at that stage, and eating tin food before that, right? So they rocked up with a pizza and ate out the back of their ute, right? And I was maybe soft drink as well, I don't know. And that's my vice. Soft drink is my biggest vice along this river. That's the one thing anyone's asked me, do you want anything? Yeah, get me some soft drink. Get me some soft drink. So it's the one thing I have had a couple of times. And I wouldn't say it a lot, but yeah, I've had it a couple of times. You know, when people ask, obviously not many people ask that sort of thing. Now, I sat there and he rocked up and we started having a chat after they finished eating. I kind of felt like asking, I was sitting there thinking, oh, just have some pizza left over and ask, oh, would you like the rest of it? Would you like the rest of it? Because now I reckon, I don't know if I would have taken it if they'd offered it. I probably said, nah, don't worry about it. And then I went, yeah, why not? No, I don't know. I know I would have taken it if I'd offered it. But, yeah, so they had their pizza, and then we had a bit of a chat after they'd finished. And this was quite late at night. Like, this got into almost dark. But, yeah, it was almost dark when they got there. Like, it was definitely in the last hour. Now, I think they were coming down to check the joint out. Didn't bring anything with them. It was just the ute themselves and, obviously, the pizza and whatever. Now, I sat there and had a bit of a chat, told them what I was doing and all that sort of stuff, and told them about having to stop in Echuca on the river and walk in to get my motor at BCF. Now, going by my map, it looked like it was going to be about a 2 kilometre walk. So I think it was going to be about an hour and a half round trip to try and sort of walk to the other end of, because basically it's at the very other end of Echuca from the river, right, on the other side of town. So it looked like, going by the map, roughly a 2K walk. So that's got a round trip plus being in Bunnings, not Bunnings, BCF. If I said Bunnings, I meant BCF, to buy an electric motor. So I sat there and I told them I needed to do that. Now, I sat there, they left. We talked about other things and all that sort of stuff, obviously, but they left. And then they came back. They brought a boat. Now, one of the things I said was I was only going to be there for another week. Right? I was only going to be there for another week at the campsite. Now, the next time they rocked up, might have been about, I don't know, the Tuesday, a couple of days after. They brought a boat. They brought a little dinghy. Now, they came in at about sort of 5:30, so I just assumed they were going to go fishing. But then they took it out, parked the trailer alongside, tied the boat to the river, and then just started chatting. And I was sitting there going, oh, what's going on with the boat? Well, we're just going to drop it here. We're just going to leave it here. Oh, okay, no worries. Like this. And then after they left, I started twigging, they're going to drop everything here. Because I wanted to stay there for another couple of weeks. At least until after Christmas. And this was about this is very early December. This is early December. So I'd probably been there for a couple of weeks already. In fact, I think I had. I think I'd been there for a good couple of weeks. Now, I didn't want to make it look like I was going to be there forever, so I just told them a week. Now, they brought their boat up. Then a couple of days later, they sat there and talked about bringing a caravan up and all that sort of stuff and whatever. Fuck, they're not even approaching my area, man. I've got to tell them to fuck off. But what they'd done on the Thursday, I remember this being a Thursday for some reason, don't know why, but on the Thursday, they sat there and came past, because they lived in Mathaura, which is about half an hour out of Echuca, on the New South Wales side, right? So they came through Echuca to my campsite to ask me specifically if I wanted to ride into town to pick up this mate instead of having to walk, because they knew it was a long way to walk. And I've gone, well, yeah, no worries. Yeah, no worries like this. Now, sort of get in the car and I started thinking, is it they're going to try and rape and kill me? What's the deal with this? No one's never this nice. But nah, they didn't rape or kill me. They just sat there and just nice people. So they drove because along the river at that spot there was 28 kilometres out of Echuca. So I was 28 kilometres from Echuca still. But along the road it's only about 20 minutes, half an hour drive roughly. Right? So they drove about half an hour out of their way past Echuca, because they had stuff to do. They did admit. They said we could be in there for over an hour because we've got a few things we have to do in town, but we just thought we'd see if you wanted to, we could get your motor with you if you wanted. So yeah, no worries, I'm happy to wait. You just do what you have to do, and I'll do this, and I'll just sit and wait for you. Yeah, I'm not going to complain. So I sat down, we did that. They dropped me back off, and then I tried to give them $50. I've tried to give them $20. But they wouldn't take it. I couldn't afford the $50, but I wanted to give him $20. He said, no, you're going to have a good trip. We want to help you out. I'm going, oh, okay, no worries. And then I kind of sat there and thought, nah, screw it. I'm not, I'll just drop it on the floor. I'll just drop it on the floor. They'll find it and go, they'll just think they dropped it. But, they don't know I paid for it, so they can feel good. And I can feel good because I have paid for it. I didn't pay enough for it, I don't think. But basically, that round trip is like nearly 2 hours. Because you've got to remember, they drove half an hour past, then a half an hour back in, and then a half an hour past to drop me back off again, and a half an hour back in to go home. You know what I mean? So it's nearly 2 hours out of their way. All that fuel, all that time, and all that sort of stuff. So I had to give them something. So it made me feel I did the right thing. So he did that. Now, I started sitting there thinking, screw it, they can have the spot. As soon as they rock up, I'll leave. Right? Now, they dropped the caravan off on the Sunday. I left on the Monday. And I was paddling down the river, going, as soon as I got into the river and I was packing up, I was fucking fuming, eh? Absolutely really pissed off. Really annoyed, you know. And I had to pull, because they started encroaching, I had to pull a lot of my traps down. Because I started practicing with that. I had to pull a lot of the traps down because, you know, a lot of people were hanging around and whatever. So I didn't have any there. I had, like, I think I had two. I think I only had two. Yeah, there's one there. And one on the other side. Nessa's Road. Yeah, so only two. So I sat there and got them down, set them up at the next spot I went to. And I sat there and as I was getting in the canoe, because I started packing up about 6:30 the next morning, and was on the river by about sort of 8:30ish. It takes about 2 hours for me to pack up. In the old days, it used to take 2.5 hours to pack up completely. So I was freaking bleeding, man. And you fucking bastards, like this in my head. But I was talking to somebody at the next campsite. I was talking to somebody about that, saying I knew I was going to get people encroaching, because they asked me if they could stay at the next campsite. I got asked if they asked, oh, can we stay? Yep, because I knew people were going to encroach because of the old guy. I was talking to somebody about that, and then I sat there and going, hang on a second. I told them I was only going to be there for another week to try and hide the fact I was going to be there for a long time. So they probably bringing their stuff in to come in behind me. So that's when I sort of tweeted going, hang on, this is my fault. I lied to them. And it's like I didn't have a go at them. It's like I didn't, because I would have said, well, because all the timeline works out. Yeah, after I said I was only going to be there for another week, they dropped the boat off a few days later. Then they dropped the caravan off a few days after that, and then they came down. Yeah, so everything works out. So yeah, it would have been 100% my fault because I lied to them. I think they would have stopped in anyway. I don't think they would have asked if they could stay with me. It's a decent sized area. It wasn't a massive area, but it was a good sized area for a caravan and a tent. I would have moved a bit. I would have had to move my tent if I stayed there. I kind of wish I did, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, and all that sort of stuff. I don't know yet. I don't know. I think I'm glad I moved, because I got to the next point at Echuca, so I left there, right? Now, because I was still adamant I didn't want to get past Echuca for a little while. I don't know why. It was just in my head that I just wanted to sort of sit by the bank and just fish and do whatever. I was in a hurry. At that stage, I was still 12 months. So what are we at? 32 minutes. I'm going to stop.